Get the Intel, the podcast meant for those of us trying to find out what the hell is going on in the field. Here we discuss tools, techniques, and approaches that you can implement to streamline operations and let you focus on your craft.
Hello, Chad Gill here. I am the host of the Get the Intel podcast, where I talk with leaders in contracting, management, and really anyone helping us do business better. This episode is brought to you by Lamin & Coaching. Lamin is a business coaching company with a focus on contractors in and around construction. We not only help with proposing solutions and methods, but we implement them in your business as well. After all, good ideas are not useful until they're implemented. So if you're ready to elevate your business, visit us at laminandcoach.com to see our full range of services. So joining me today is Mike Price. Mike is the CEO of Bay Area Concretes and PolishedCrete, a company recognized as the second stamped concrete contractor globally. In the late 1980s and early 90s, Mike pioneered advancements in concrete stains and dyes, and in 1999, he further established PolishedCrete as one of the pioneering polished concrete contractors. Mike, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. And kind of look forward to talking to you a little bit about that. 1999 for you were right there early in the polishing.
Yeah, sure was, Chad. Thank you. Happy to be aboard on the podcast here. 1999 was an exciting time because we had gone through stamped concrete in the 70s and the 80s, and then we went into stained concrete and micro toppings in the 90s. And around 1998, we started discovering that people were going to this polished concrete, honing the surface of concrete with diamonds and making it shine like a mirror. And so that's when we kind of said, we need to jump on this. And we wanted to get into polished concrete. And at the time, there was a little company called Retroplate out there that was polishing concrete and nobody else. And, for whatever reason, they didn't see a need to bring us in. So we started our own little operation called PolishedCrete. And we had our densifiers and our guards, and we had that, of course, manufactured out there on the market under our name and our brand. And we went to town polishing concrete. And man, those early 2000s all the way through maybe 2010, 11, 12 were great time to be polishers because the margins were high and you didn't have a lot of competition. And here we are today. Everybody and their brother is polishing concrete. It's been commoditized quite a bit, so that's fine. But this was all in addition to our architectural concrete that we've done since 1966. So we've been around a long time. And when we talk to the architects and we talk to the clients, we have a good reputation and a good bit of history behind us. So they feel pretty confident with us, Yeah,
and I think that, when you're talking about it definitely has been commoditized. I agree. Yeah, I mean, now everybody's a polisher and you get a wide array of different results. I mean, I think that's the natural way of things, but doesn't mean you have to like it. So when we were talking about it earlier, you were talking about protecting that reputation and how you do that, and I guess you do it. You said mostly through management of expectations. But do what you say you're going to do, but make sure they know what that is.
Yeah, 100% actually. Early on, when you're an architectural concrete contractor, you're like the end finish guy. So or gal, you have to make sure that your client understood what you were going to do in the beginning, and when you're all finished and done and walking off the job site, that they're happy and they got exactly what they thought they were going to get. Well, when you interject architects and you interject engineers and you interject general contractors and designers, you kind of sometimes as the subcontractor, you get a little bit lost in the equation there, and your communication doesn't go through so well. So back in 1990 and 91, we instituted a marketing program where we would go direct to the architects and to the general contractors, and we would go, hey, we got this great product. It's colored concrete, and it's going to have a stamp on it, and this is what it does, and this is how you specify it, and this is what you do. And they would go and they'd use our expertise and write that into their specification. And when we got the job, the general would sit down and the spec would be there and we'd have a meeting and everything was fine. So we found out in polished concrete that there was a lot of misnomers there because people thought they were going to be getting terrazzo, which is very uniform, as you know, from sample to sample. Polished concrete, once you rip that cap off, you're never really quite sure what you're going to reveal down there. So we instituted a expectations process where on bid day, when we send out our polished concrete price proposal, we have a little notation on our proposal that says, when under contract, we will come forward with our expectations and we'll get everybody on the same page before proceeding. You don't like to send an explanation or a disclaimer, if you will, until you've got the contract and until you're sitting down and having pre-con construction meetings, And so we have just a list of items that we go through, clarity, aggregate reveal. What happens when there's a stain on the concrete and we get it? Can we just grind that off and polish it up? Not always, sometimes, and just to let the client know that we're going to do exactly what they think they're going to do. And you know how it goes. Sometimes your face front is to the general contractor, and then that general contractor is facing the owner's rep, and then the owner's rep is facing his architect or her architect, and then the architect is facing the people above them. And the owner, lots of times, is just the owner's rep, and he's still got to tell the owner what's actually going to happen, which rarely happens. So we've kind of developed this process where it's a chain of communication where we can check the box that everyone is on the same page. And if we get to job day and we don't have acknowledgement that everyone has seen our disclaimers, we'll say we have pages of disclaimers for everything that we do, every product. Is a stain and polish, dye and polish, overlays that are polished, epoxy coatings, gypcrete, concrete topping slabs that then we're then going to polish. Any of these things, if everyone hasn't seen that, then we'll throw up a little red flag and we'll go, hey, we need to have a discussion here, and I want to make sure that this box isn't checked, but you guys have talked about this, right? Yes, Mike. Yeah, we've got that covered. Okay. So you come to the end of the project, a month later, and everything's done, and the owner's out there and they're taking the blue tape and marking everything, their checkbox and everything that they don't exactly like. And you go, well, wait a minute now. This was in the mock-up, and it was in the expectation sheet we gave you. And I never saw you in any of the meetings, Mr. Owner, but I think that I'm assuming that you were getting the communication correctly. No, I never heard that, Mike. Okay, well, there's a whole long history of what we put forward here. And what that does is that protects us as a company, and it protects our reputation. It helps. You're still going to get an owner that's just very upset that they didn't understand exactly how that surface was going to look at the end of the day. And typically it comes back somehow the subcontractor is always deemed, well, you're the expert.
Yeah, you're the expert, right? That's normally the beginning of the worst part of your day.
Exactly. It's like, oh, I'm the expert. Okay, I see. You're the general contractor. You're the architect. You're the owner. You guys have all these responsibilities, and I'm the sub, sometimes a second tier or a third tier sub, and it's my responsibility to make sure that you knew what you were getting. Okay.
You're never the expert on bid day, but you're always the expert on punch list day.
Oh, you betcha. And so what that means is just you're gonna probably accommodate 70% of your clients. They're gonna have a great understanding of what you're projecting to them. And the other 30 are just, for whatever reason, even with my checkoff list, and our sheet of expectations and our communication is a very important part of our business. We market our communication. Even with all that, you're still going to get the zero at the end of the connector that's just not going to understand it for whatever reason. And then you have to go into defensive mode and, explain to them that it's a beautiful polished piece of concrete. And that's never a regular occurrence. The surface is going to be irregular throughout. So it says right here in this disclaimer that we put forward to you about a month ago.
It's tough. I remember in World of Concrete a couple of years in a row, I gave a managing expectations talk, and it was geared towards that very thing. I was like, I don't care whether you're talking about concrete or paint or marriage. You need to get the expectations out up front before that contract is locked in. And we found that I always compared it to that game of telephone where you all sit in a circle and you whisper something in the person's ear next to you. By the time you get her all the way around the circle, it has nothing like what because everybody added whatever they thought it was going to take to make that project go. And
that is the truth. That is the truth.
They added expectations and didn't pass any of that down to you. So I think that is a great idea of what you're doing there.
Yeah, I think it's been good for us. It's been good for business, good for reputation. And over time, the competition, all your competitors kind of pick up on what you're doing, and then they'll start doing similar things. The smart ones do. But I don't think that's a bad thing for the industry. I think it's good because then everyone has a better understanding of things across the board. You know, to use an example, we originally were stamped concrete contractors. We were the second Bowmanite stamped concrete installer in the world. And, you know, what we learned with that is, you know, it's hard for everyone else to do for the first 10 years. And then pretty soon people are renting tools. Pretty soon every Tom, Dick, and Harry is stamping concrete out of their backyard or their garage. And then the quality level of the concrete that's stamped and finished starts going down. And the architects see that. And over time, they stop specifying it because now they've lost control. But the whole reason the quality gets out of control is because there's not a uniform code of conduct amongst all the contractors that are installing it. Now, with polished concrete, there was a couple of professional boards that came together and kind of tried to mitigate this a little bit. So the word has gotten out there a little bit better, but now you're seeing it, you know, now here we go, polished concrete from 99 to 2024 now, and your quality levels are kind of going down with the average low bid contractor. The guys that have been doing it for a while, their quality levels, of course, are going up. But what happens when it starts going down, the architects start going, you know, there's LVT now that looks like polished concrete. I can lay this down and it comes out of a factory downtown and it looks the same on every job in every state and every continent, you know, and unit pavers are great. Why don't we just do that? Or why don't we do tile that looks like, you know, a beautiful stone, a honed stone? And so you're getting to a point now where terrazzo looks like concrete. We do terrazzo, epoxy terrazzo too. And you can make that look exactly like concrete and it's uniform. So the architects I find are starting to pull away from polished concrete a little bit and getting into things that they have more control over for their reputation. You know, they're going to specify something. They want to make sure it looks good. So,
yeah, I think that was one thing when I was running the CPC for a while, and then, you know, that's one of the things we came up to is like the only thing rising faster than the growth of the polished concrete industry is the dissatisfaction with the product.
Yep.
And it's because the promises were getting higher and higher and the quality was getting lower and lower. One of the things that I instituted when with our company was very much like what you're talking about. The written disclaimers was really good, but we moved to a heavy video of actually just me or one of my guys explaining exactly what's in the contract, not in the contract, and then video based on expectations where we were at a floor or a piece of concrete and we explained it in video. That way the customer literally heard me tell them those, and then you got the visual, you got the audio and the written. And I'm like, you know, at this point, you're just trying to find a way to get over it.
Well, that's a great idea. That's a good tip. I might have to take that under my wing here and go with that one moving forward.
Loom is fantastic. That's a great one, but we did it, and we've also integrated it through our proposal system, Panda Docs. We did that way because we knew that one, the tracking, you can tell that they've watched it, so you can see that whether they have or not. We even did that where we would send a video walkthrough of our proposal to the general contractor. And in that video walkthrough, we would explain to them things to look for. Like, hey, we put this in here. I don't think other people are going to put that in here. It's an option, you know, make sure you tell your owner this, make sure you check for that. This is when we do it, you know. I don't know how many times, I mean, it never ceases to amaze me. I mean, we cut a concrete floor one time for a sample and we polished it and they wanted to expose the aggregate. And at the end of it, the customer didn't really like the way the aggregate looked and just said, no, that's okay. Just make it go back to cream finish.
That's good.
The only one better than that was when they asked me, they said, we want to polish all the way down to see 2-inch diameter rock. I was like, that's a lot of cutting, but we can do it. Is there 2-inch diameter rock in the concrete mix? I don't know. That's just what we wanted to
Probably
look like. Not. We're gonna have a hard time finding it.
Well, gosh, we've got one now where they want to put the big 2-inch to 3-inch round La Paz stones in the surface of the concrete, have it lay under that top there, and then when you grind it and cut it and polish it, they want to see these nice round stones that are about yay big, you know, which is popular now in terrazzo, but they want to make the concrete kind of have that look. And so, well, we can put some of those in there, yeah, for sure, but some are going to drip down a little farther. Some are going to kind of sit near the top. You're going to probably have some hand grinding on some that maybe we couldn't get in. Those are big chunks of stone to displace the concrete, you know, when we're placing it. So expectations on that have been wild, sample after sample, everything short of videos, pictures, and site meetings face to face, demanded site meetings with the architect, the owner, all that stuff. So we're all on the same page. But yeah, I mean, gosh, irregularity and surface reveal is like a number one faux pas. To think that that's going to be controlled with polished concrete, it can't.
No, I mean, and we had to explain things like footprint. I mean, there's things that you just forget. And I think having a written thing, what you're talking about, is really important, because when it's what you do all day, every day, it just makes sense to you. I mean, I've been in a place where they were pouring concrete and the owner asked, hey, all of the rock concrete came in. When do they bring the smooth concrete that goes on top? If you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
It sounds so silly when you're standing there. But, I think that's also a trap that a lot of us, contractors get into, is like, did you mention grouting? Well, no, I mean, naturally they would know that, right? No. Yeah. And who's going to decide whether you grout or not? I mean, for me, I'm always going to grout, but I get paid to grout. You may not want to pay for that. Who's responsible for it? What's it going to look like? Footprints. There was no footprint when you got here, and now there's a footprint. You must have been there, So we try to always explain it to people, saying, that setting expectations in the beginning, you're setting expectations and warnings. If you wait until the end to tell them, it just sounds like some sort of crazy justification for a change order.
Oh, exactly. And they just don't like that. They're like, why didn't you tell me sooner? Well, you weren't listening, I don't think,
Yeah. I mean, I told you, I wrote it in a letter, I sent it to you. It's got like that guy that was waiting on God to save him from the flood. As I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter, you just didn't get in them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
the people are the hardest part of this business. Is the most important thing is communication. So, I mean, if our clients are people, and our architects are people, and our generals are people, and we're just people, and the guys, in the field doing the hard work every day are just people, if we're not communicating as a group, we're not going to be successful. So I think expectations and communication have just like up and down this whole conversation we've had right here. From your point of view, my point of view, it's like, you're a successful guy, we're a successful company. It's just like, you need that. And if you don't have it, you just like the rest of them, not working very long.
Well, I think, and that's what separates, good from great, is that it's like, you don't really have to have, polishing concrete isn't really all that hard. I mean, that's why so many people get it. The thing is, it's like, you don't need a really good polished concrete contractor until something goes wrong, but you don't know which one of those it's going to be on. And odds are it's going to be on a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's when you want to do that, and that's between good companies and great companies, and it's like, if you wanted a surgeon that can handle it, if there's a rupture, you don't really want to go looking for somebody while you're bleeding out.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. And of course, it's a little more expensive to be thorough, and to have expectations gauged, and to go to all these meetings, and to have the people to back you up. So you're not going to be the cheapest guy on the market, but you're going to be probably one of the smarter guys on the market that provides a better product, because everybody understood what they were getting. So yeah, maybe it is worth, another 10 or 20% to go with PolishedCrete, than the next guy. These are all things you get what you pay for, right? Your grandfather taught you that a long time ago, and there's no free lunch.
Yeah, that's it. And it's, and if you do get a free lunch, odds are you can't afford it. Because the bill's coming.
It's coming.
You just don't know what it is, But I think when you talk about managing expectations, we were big on samples. We charged because it was work. But we learned early on, when you're doing a sample, that's not a good time to send your best guy.
No, it's not.
I've seen that mistake made a lot, sometimes for me.
Yeah. I mean, samples are key, because basically we're in the flooring industry now, right? So when you're competing against the tile guy and terrazzo guys, we do terrazzo, the carpet guy, they all provide samples, and that owner gets those samples, like, wow, this is nice, and then with concrete, you also have to you can have your little 5x5, 4x4 samples, but before the project starts, we provide a 2x2 sample. If it's anything other than polished concrete, we'll do it here in our shop and provide it. If it's polished concrete, you need that sacrificial area, so you can't bring it back to cream again, right? You need that sacrificial area that you can give to us, and then we'll do an 8x8, 10x10 sample for you, and kind of give you an idea of what that's going to look like. Of course, we're not going to guarantee that the entire slab looks like this. Because
I can just tell you this part of the slab looks like that.
Yes, exactly.
And it's funny, we get a lot of requests for 8x8 and 10x10 samples. And it seems like a really small thing, but that's the stuff we're always looking for. We did away with it. We're like, I tell you what, from now on, we're going to do 3 foot by 12 foot samples. And they're like, why is that? And I said, because my grinder is 3 feet wide. So I'm going to go down on the strip and back. And then I'm going to go all the way down and back with my 400. I'm going to go most of the way down and back with my 800 and a little ways with my 15. You can see all 4 grids. And it's funny, that made our samples a lot easier. And we also used stain and would put our names, the company name in the sample, because hey, it was free marketing at that point.
Yeah, that's smart. I like that. That's a great idea.
It's I have tons of ideas. You've heard the 3 that are probably good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know. We can all pick up little tidbits here and there through our
But I
career.
think you're right. That expectations, I think, and making sure that how do you convey those expectations to do you do that with your employees as well to kind of let them know, hey, this is what we're telling them, and we kind of all got to have the same line
Yeah.
for them.
We've got one just right now, I shall leave the name of the manufacturer off of this conversation, but 8,000 square feet of overlay that just cracked like an alligator's back. Probably most likely from structural movement. It's bonded tenaciously, but in the efforts to keep everyone on the same page, it's like we're having meetings with the general, we're having meetings with the architect and the owners, and then our guys aren't, but our guys are going out and doing that work. And then upper level management here, the folks that run the polish division, they have to know what these conversations were all about. So we go through an inordinate amount of repeat conversation and communication so that the guys in the field know exactly what we're doing. And because, the other folks that are on the other side of the equation, the ones paying us, are going to come out and talk to the guys in the field when we're not there. And so
That's what they're looking for.
yeah, and they're looking to trip somebody up on something. And so we shouldn't even be approached that way because, we're supposed to be a team working together with the general, but it doesn't always come off that way. But so yeah, we'll go emails, we'll have meetings face to face, and then we'll follow that up with emails. And then the emails will keep coming as the conversation changes over the course of the days and the weeks coming to the solution, right? And then in addition to that, we'll do text and we'll do reminders a lot too. If it's my project, I'm always text, communication on the phone, emails, everything, meetings in person at the office and on site. And so that's how you keep that going. But that takes a lot of work. You can't just put your golf clubs in the truck and go head out for the day and figure out everyone else that works for you is going to take care of it.
I'm sure it'll be fun.
You're gonna, yeah, you just don't want to lose that communication line. So, and that's how you get through problems, where everyone's on the same page. But like you said, it's got to be a focal point, and it's a lot of work.
Absolutely, yeah. And meeting those expectations, make them clear, make them achievable, and then hit them or exceed them.
Mm-hmm.
But for the love of gosh, hit them.
Yeah, and you want your people that work for you to take ownership of what they're doing too, and be responsible. And sometimes that's hard. We're a union company, so paying a nice union wage and providing a good lifestyle for everybody. But some of the guys just want to clock in at 7 in the morning and clock out at 3 and don't really want to think about too much after that. And you always get your best foreman to rise to the top, and then those foremen can become superintendents and stuff. But it's always the guys. It's always the guys that are willing to communicate the extra mile. I don't care if I get a text at 10 o'clock at night because a light bulb went off in someone's head and they're like, Mikey, we got to do this. And I just remembered this, and that's what it takes. But those are the cream of the crop. Those are the people that make your company successful. And those are the communicators in the group. And those are the expectation communicators, right? And so it's a full circle kind of deal throughout the company. And then you got to project that on everybody, your clients, all of them, the architects, the designers, everybody.
Isn't it funny, that none of us are communication majors. None of us thought that's what it was going to be. None of us thought we were going to be doing this, and then it all comes back down to, can you actually convey a thought and keep it continuous, and and sometimes we get the new generation, like, pick up the phone and talk to them. They're like,
oh gosh.
text. You're like, the phone. I don't know if you're familiar with this thing, that that thing in your hand, it actually makes phone calls in addition to all the things you're using it for.
Yeah. Yeah. Picking up the phone is entrepreneurial gold right there. You just have to be able to talk. Come
Oh
on,
yeah.
kids.
Yeah. It's
The
like
kids are, and you know how it is now. It's like you have your contractors out there, and a lot of times now you've got 26 to 36-year-old people that are kind of the face of the project management team. The older guys like me, you are upstairs a little bit more maybe these days, but they're keeping those younger folks down there. And it's like, for me, sometimes it's super frustrating, mid 50s, communicating with a late 20s to mid 30s is like sometimes talking to the dog in the house and hoping the dog's understanding what you're saying. Here's a treat. Maybe you can focus for a minute, I'll take you to a baseball game.
Look,
Yeah.
I'm going to do this in bullet points, okay? Because I know that, I'm going to catch you between TikTok videos or something, but
Yeah.
let's try and
And
get it.
no disrespect to the young up and comers that are going to be in our position someday, but it's just like, come on, guys. They have such a short focal point. It's from all those social media videos. It's like you got a couple seconds to work with them and get them to focus on you, and then have a conversation, and then it's good. And I think they'll grow over time, and they'll learn from their mistakes, because everybody does, right? I mean, mistakes are the most important learning hurdle you can get over in your career. But yeah, it's just funny how it all works, man. It all comes down to communication.
It is. And you know what? I mean, from clients to customers to vendors, we all hear about it. I mean, the next generation's been worse than the last generation ever since the first generation. It's kind of like, it's always, and it's always kind of just telling them, look, man, it's not a problem to solve. It's a situation to manage. You say we got to go where they are, and they're probably smarter, faster, better than us, at a lot of things. And so we can all learn from each. But you got to be open to it, and be able to do it.
100% agree. 100%.
Yeah. Mike, this has been great. I really appreciate taking the time. I think expectation is something, man, we could just do every other episode on this, because I think it saves the most money and probably makes the most money.
Yeah.
And there's one question I was going to ask you. What do you do when you're nervous about giving them these disclaimers? There's going to be contractors out there who are going to ask, and they're like, yeah, that's great, but if I give all these disclaimers, I might lose the job. What do you say to that?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier is I have a conversation with the client when we're bidding the job, and I say, okay, if we get this project together, we're going to talk about our disclaimers. I don't give them the disclaimers with the proposal, because that'll scare half of everybody off the job. He's like, oh, the other 5 guys aren't giving me this thing. This says you're not responsible for anything. No, it doesn't say I'm not responsible for anything. It says I'm going to manage the situation, like you said, when things come up, and we're going to get to the expectations in advance. But I don't give them that until we get to the contract. When the contract's signed, then they'll get the disclaimers for whatever kind of materials or techniques or finishes we're using. They'll get that. And then they'll go, hey, Mike, I don't know if I can show this to the owner. I go, well, that's fine. You don't have to show it to the owner, but you and I are going to be on the same page. We have the contract together, and it's your responsibility to face the owner. I'm happy to come to a meeting and talk to the owner and give them all the expectations they need, because if they're not comfortable with these at the end of the day, maybe they should put that, tile floor in, that LVT floor or something, so that's kind of how we handle it. But I don't send it up front, because I won't get the job.
Right. But you got to do it, because, the only thing worse than not getting a job is getting it and not getting paid for it. And I mean, that's going backwards. I mean,
that's the worst.
Yeah. And it happens. I mean, it absolutely happens. So yeah, to them, that's what I normally say is like, look, man, if you think it's going to cause you to lose the job, then you're probably dodging one you don't want.
Exactly.
You have to be confident with it.
I agree with you there.
Honestly, hey, this has been great. I really appreciate it. I'm jealous of the weather and the location. My wife just landed in Los Angeles a little, maybe about an hour ago, and she said it's beautiful. And then sent me
beautiful
for flowers. I was like, I don't feel that's necessary, but what the heck?
It's nice today. It's going to start raining on the weekend.
That'll be fair. I think that'll be fair. It was raining here today, so we're good.
All right, Chad.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And and I look forward to catching up again soon, I hope.
Yeah, pleasure to meet you. Anything you need, just give me a jingle. Hit me on the email.
We will do it. Thank you, Mike.
All right, take care.
Thanks for listening to Get the Intel. We'll see you next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.